listening to the 23 Personnel Podcast, a Texas Tech athletics podcast where food and sports clash at the goal line. Here are your hosts, Spencer and Michael.
All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the 23 Personnel Podcast. I am your host, Spencer, joined by Michael. Michael, what's up, man?
Sorry, I was on mute and on the other screen. I have too many screens open. Does that ever happen to you?
Always, all the time.
All the time. Not too many screens, too many windows. I have only one screen.
Tabs? Too many tabs open?
Possibly. I guess that's the word. So I'm ready for some basketball tomorrow. I'm going to go watch some basketball. Here in
I'm
Lubbock.
jealous, man. I want to go, but I've got all kinds of things happening tomorrow night. That's not going to be the basketball tournament basketball, unfortunately.
I'll be representing. I'll be wearing the 23 personnel cap.
Nice.
The one of one. The very limited edition.
Yeah, because I have a one of one cap too.
Oh, man. Yeah.
So
Anyways, if you see that, if you see a tall fellow with a beard with a 23 personnel cap on, it's me. It's no one else.
the one and only. Could be no one else besides
I thought you were vaping over there for a second. It's getting a sip of water.
No, it's water. And
I guess.
Last Wednesday, maybe it was even the Wednesday before last,
There could be anything in there. I don't know what's in there.
I left my 23 personnel Yeti at a friend's house.
Also one of one?
Also one of one. He said he was going to bring it by on Thursday. Didn't. Then it was going to be on Friday. Didn't bring it to church on Sunday. So I was like, dude, you can't keep it.
He likes
really
it too
can't.
much. So there's a market for it. There's a market
Yes.
for this.
But to keep up with my water intake, I have to keep a water bottle on hand. Otherwise, I don't drink water. I'm using Samantha's backup. And this has a bunch of stickers on it and taped in like it's like you would laminate something. Back when
Oh, I see
putting
that.
stickers on your water bottle was a cool thing to do.
My favorite one is during COVID. Great story. But my wife was putting a very positive spin on it, or as positive as she could. So we had a staycation, and she got the three of us matching water bottles. And mine is a Contigo or whatever. I mean, that's what all three of us got. And that is by far my favorite water bottle. I hope it lasts forever. There's nothing
Contigo.
to it. I mean, I don't know. There's nothing super special about it, but it's stainless steel. And it's got
yes.
a great little handle that you can carry. Mine doesn't have the little straw thing, but it's perfect. I love it. 24 ounces. Fits in all cup holders. It is kind of tall, so sometimes that'll be a problem, but that's the issue with some of these larger, liter of cola water bottles they've got now that particularly women like to carry is there's no effing cup holder for them, and they just roll around in your car.
Yeah. One, I appreciate the Super Troopers reference. It's a fantastic scene. I don't want a liter of cola. I want a large. Speaking of water
desert,
bottles,
hydration's important.
it is. Well, I'm also, as part of keeping a food journal and tracking what I eat, all that kind of stuff, for a very, a few reasons I'm doing that. One is to help be cognizant of everything that I eat every day, because there are times that I just would eat because I was bored, and it tends to lead to a body like mine if you eat a lot when you're bored, or eat when you're thirsty and not actually hungry. So I found that that'd be really helpful, but it also helps track like how much water I've had in a day, and I realized like I am not very good at drinking water, especially if I don't have a cup with me. But I in the absence of my 23 personnel cup, I tried this one I got from work. It was a Christmas gift from our VP that lives in Seattle, and he sends this out. He loves his brand. I don't even know what it's called. Mir, MIIR. He's
Mm-hmm.
of Ukrainian descent, and this has some kind of like Eastern European tie to it. Anyways, so I'm drinking out of this bottle. It doesn't have a straw in it. It's got like one of those flip lever locks on it, and the lid is just like a solid cap thing. I don't know. It's super weird. When I go to try to drink from it, the lip on this thing is so wide, it's like almost impossible to put your mouth on it and drink. Is like, but there's no straw. The cup was meant to be drunk from this fashion, but you can't actually do it that way. It makes no sense.
It doesn't.
It's also white. It's like that's not going to be white for long, except for people that put it on a shelf and never use it like me. This is the first time I use it. It's probably been in the house for 2 years. Anyways, hope to have my 23 personnel cup back and not look like I'm vaping out of a teal stickered flask. What do you want to call
Yeah, it was
this
the
thing?
crop. It was the cropping nature of the video. That's what made you look like you were vaping.
Well, it's got some like a really wide straw on it.
When you were kind of like leaning down too, like you're getting away with something.
Make that face that all vapors make. The
Yeah, kind of that fish face looking thing.
yeah. All right. It's just water vapor, man.
It's just vapor, man. It's cool. It just happens to smell like butt.
It tastes like cotton candy.
It can't bother you. It can't bother you. This doesn't bother you. The more I say it doesn't bother you, the less it bothers you, even though it smells like feet. Sorry.
So we've got.
Go ahead.
I was enjoying that for a second. We're breaking the rotation because last week we did a full episode. We're doing another full episode this week. Then we'll have our off-season episode next week. This week we're going to talk about baseball. There are a couple of tidbits for transfer portal and roster updates. Some basketball news. The McCaslin staff, I think, has been finished since the last episode, or maybe it was before. I don't know. We're going to touch on it. There's
we didn't talk about it last time either way.
Yeah, there's that. Hired somewhere. The basketball tournament, the Air first game is tomorrow. There's a non-conference game that was announced. So quite a bit of basketball news. Football, there's Big 12 Media Days was this past week. Our men, the Gambling Gauchos were in person. Kyle actually had a microphone in his hand and asked a question. We'll get to that. Updates at the stadium, and then wrap up with what we learned. So if you want to keep up with all of us and all of our shenanigans between episodes, you can follow us on Twitter at 23personnel. You can follow me, Spencer, at PuntSuck, Michael at Michael_LBK. You can follow all the guys part of the Staking the Plains content network. Check out stakingtheplains.com. You can find all kinds of great content being written by the guys and especially by Seth. Yeah. I'm ready to do baseball, Michael. What about you?
Fire it up.
Left field, well struck. Desloney picks it up on a bounce. He's racing for second. Throw out in second.
Young lifts it to right field, looking for a second home run, and he's got it into his own bullpen.
Reps and some time because all the tools are there.
Wow, this one launched deep left off the bat of Warren and into the bleachers. There he goes. And the pitch is driven deep to right. Kirstad to the wall. Off the top of the fence. Here comes the big fella. Cameron Ward's going to motor home from first. Throw to third is late. And the Red Raiders have reclaimed the lead. Popped up. Trevor Boone. Back. It's more than a pop-up. It's a big fly. Tech takes the lead. Lubbock and leave it. Texas Tech can start packing for Omaha.
All right. Transfer portal update, Michael. The portal window has closed as of a few days ago. So don't expect any more Red Raiders to hit the portal. You can still obviously get gain commitments from guys that are in the portal moving forward. And we certainly hope to hear some news, not only on Red Raiders that are in the portal, but guys that are in the portal that Texas Tech has interest in. But a couple things. One, no official word as of July 18th, 9:48 p.m. that Mason Molina is committed anywhere. There was, I hate to say smoke, but there were words spoken that would indicate that the door is cracked for Molina to return to Texas Tech, which was interesting because of the comments that Tim Tadlock made. And this would actually be fairly uncommon for him, for a player that is into to return to Texas Tech. Although there's also been quite a bit more words spoken, tweeted, whatever, linking Molina to Arkansas, but nothing official either direction yet. The other thing that has been since we last talked, Austin Green will be returning for his senior season, his last season, 2024 season, which is good news. He was a key contributor to this season. Would love to have him back. Get him of infielders, stability, senior, all that kind of stuff. You want that on the roster. So love to hear that. In terms of baseball recruiting, you're never really going to find a great or an updated list of recruits. One of the biggest things you did see, though, fall in the draft, and it was not really all that surprising, but Miles Naylor, brother of, I'm blanking on his other name, his first name, but Naylor that plays for the Guardians, former commit to Texas Tech, younger brother was committed to Texas Tech, but will sign his deal, his offer from the MLB, and will be foregoing coming to Texas Tech. So both Naylor brothers that you had committed to Texas Tech, drafted high enough, never. This is the why I can't ever keep up with Texas Tech baseball recruiting or college baseball recruiting, really, especially the younger guys, because you never know who's going to end up taking the offer from the MLB, and who will end up on campus. So you'll see a lot of guys show up for campus here in the fall, have a huge roster, and then go through the red and black series, all that kind of stuff, fall practices, and then you'll start to see more of a dwindling of the roster as you get closer to opening day in February. Speaking of baseball, though, Michael, I know you're a huge Rangers fan, especially with us being blacked out by Bally and whoever.
You're double decked out tonight.
I'm just matching. It's all Rangers. Our Rangers, Michael, have won 4 in a row.
Oh, I forgot to share. Oh man, I need to figure out how to share this with you. So I actually have something to talk about with baseball. I was in Kentucky over the weekend, and we went to the Louisville Slugger Museum / factory, which
I saw pictures and I'm jealous. I want to go to that.
yes, which I appreciated it. I'm admittedly not necessarily a baseball fan per se, but I appreciate baseball. I understand its purpose. But if you're a true fan, that place is incredible. Something I just thought it was just going to be about Louisville Slugger bats, which, it mostly is, of course, but I didn't consider there being a museum area with actual bats that former players had used, and not just people you've never heard of, even like me, but they had a bat that Babe Ruth had used that cracked the season that he hit the record. I think he was 20 or 30 home runs into the season. His bat cracked. He had a notch. He had notched around the Louisville Slugger logo for each home run he'd hit.
Nice.
And he had sent that back to them and said, hey, this one's doing pretty well. Send me another one just like it. And they had
30 home runs in.
Yeah.
Send me one just like this one.
They had Hank Aaron's bat, I think, when he hit his 700th home run.
Oh, that's cool, man.
And it was, you obviously can't touch it, but it's there. It's in glass. And then, there were places where you could see how fast you could throw a ball. There was also a section where they had a bat that represented a player from every single major league team. And you could go in there, and it was a game used bat from one of the players. And I think for like the Rangers, it was Pudge. So they had one of Pudge's bats that he used. And you could go in there and take pictures with it and swing it around and do whatever. Anyway, really cool place. I forgot what I was going to tell you that, but I remember now. So I took a picture. When you go through the factory at the end, there is this, they have all these mini bats.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all the major league standings.
Oh, nice.
And so they update them. They update them as you go. I'm going to try to send you this photo, but proudly at the top are our Texas Rangers.
Yeah, man. They're AL West leading Rangers.
Yes.
So
And at the time of this photo, the Rangers, Astros, Mariners, Angels, and then A's. That was the order as of Saturday. And it's a horrible picture because it's like on the way out of the factory, and I were people behind me, and so it's blurry. But I'll send it to you anyway.
Going back to Naylor really quickly, the name I was thinking, his name is Josh, plays for the Guardians. His younger brother, Bo, not the one that was committed to Texas Tech, also plays for the Guardians.
Ah.
So Bo Naylor is 23 years old. Josh Naylor, 26 years old. And then they have a younger brother. I believe his name is Miles, but let me triple check that really quickly. Yes, Miles Naylor, Ontario Blue Jays. So he signed with the Blue Jays, but he was a Texas Tech commit. Part of the what is that? Not the compensation round. What is that called?
Consolation? I don't know.
Anyways, he was drafted by the Athletics. So good luck to you, sir, in the Athletics family, because that's a trash organization.
They're in
Anyways.
last. I know this because I went to the Louisville Slugger Museum. They're in last in the Rangers division. And their team is moving. They're going to tear down the Tropicana, which is a shame.
Trop.
Adios, Trop.
Let's
Sinatra
go to
would
basketball.
be rolling in his grave.
Let's go to.
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
Here comes Stevenson. Spins. And it is stuck back by the freshman sensation Smith.
Pass over the top of Pullman, get a crowd stripped by Owens. Ferretti on the run. Bounce pass. Here's Culver.
Evans. Yes! Game over. Mooney with a crossover and the lob to Owens. Now the shot clock is at 3. Mooney spins, fires. Oh, he got it to go. Edwards with a 3. Good! What a shot, Kyler Edwards. Ready double into Tariq. Roger puts it down. Already. Odiasi crowbars it in. Shot clock down to 5. Got the screen. Here's a 3. Good!
separation.
Big shot. Stepping up big time. Dagger.
Over to the dish. Odiase.
And one. He can tie it at the line.
That's it. There's a new member of the Final Four Club, and they hail from Lubbock, Texas.
All right. So I think we need to talk about the McCaslin staff. It's now been completed. That last assistant was, in fact, not the head coach from Northwest Missouri State A&M or whatever backwoods school he was at. I think he ended up going to Charlotte or something, right? I don't know.
I don't know.
The last assistant has been hired, Luke Barnwell, former head coach of Sunrise Christian Academy, which is one of the top prep schools in the country, but definitely in Kansas. There's an article here from Kansas.com. He, Barnwell, had been attempted to be hired away several different times, never materialized into a job because he didn't want to leave Sunrise Academy until the perfect situation kind of fell into place. And that happened when Grant McCaslin was hired at Texas Tech. The assistant coach we talked about, Matt Brower, Breuer, and Achoki Moikobu. The latter was an assistant under Barnwell at Sunrise. So Moikobu and Barnwell both coached at, so they've been reunited now at Texas Tech. He officially joined Texas Tech July 1 and has been since.
Yeah, he was, let's see, kind of probably one of the bigger ticket items, at least lately. He coached Grady Dick in 2022. He had him there. He was also named, and I'm direct quoting now from the article, named the 2021 and 2022 Naismith High School Basketball Coach of the Year, and led Sunrise to the 2022 National Interscholastic Basketball Conference Championship, as well as 5 straight trips to Geico Nationals, and a are you sitting down?
Yes, sir.
And a 178 to 28 record with the elite team the last 8 seasons. 178 and 28. So 178 divided by 206, that's a .86 winning record. .864 winning percentage.
86% of his games as a head coach.
Yeah. Not bad. For those of you who are sad, don't worry. The guy that started the program, who actually Barnwell took over for, is coming back. I think he kind of went around in the NCAA a little bit, and he's glad to come back. One thing I found interesting, just kind of briefly looking at this, I went to the website and they had a glowing letter to the former coach. And if I can get this website to work, because it doesn't let me just stay on the letter. So it was a message to Coach Luke. It's like this big graphic, and it's got him on there, and it says thank you in about 78-point font, and it just talks about building a legacy in the hearts, minds, and souls of the basketball players, students, faculty, and staff at Sunrise, as well as the Bel Air community. More than any joy a championship, full scholarship, or win could ever bring, you brought the joy of a life filled with the Holy Spirit to our community every single day. There's no doubt in anyone's mind that you will continue to be used in mighty ways as your coaching career takes you to new places. Even greater than luck, we wish both you and Emily blessings in this next season of life. The doors here at Sunrise are always open to you because you're more than just a coach. You are family. Thank you. How about that? So if you ever take a new job, Spencer, do you expect that they will publish a letter like that on their website and have it up still 18 days later or whenever that was?
No.
I'm not taking jabs here. I think this is excellent. I think this is an excellent sign of what McCaslin's able to do, one. And two, what Barnwell may be able to do and what he means to players and people around him. And he was there for, 8 years? 8 seasons? Or he was a head coach for 8 seasons. And I think in that same article, he talked about the possibility of retiring there. That was kind of his plan, or he hadn't really thought much beyond it. So I've got a little bit more, what do you call it? Pip in my step? What's it called? Something like that. Than I thought I did after looking him up just a little bit.
Yeah.
So we can all rest easy. We have a staff. Everyone's fine now.
And being able
And we
to
have a
take
team.
a head coach from a academy, which is, I believe, it's post high school graduation, but pre-college kids that play for academies, correct?
That I do not know.
It's like one of those gray areas where it's after high school, but you still get to retain all of your eligibility. Or maybe you don't graduate high school, but you transfer into this prep academy. Anyways, typically what you end up getting, higher caliber players because they're older, more physically and emotionally mature individuals. But you got one of their coaches. So one, you get to have that kind of pipeline, especially with the
I think
relationship
the prep
between
school just is a high school.
Yeah, but like IMG Academy in Florida or whatever it is has I think 12 on there.
Oh. Huh. Well, all right.
So IMG, the world leader in sports education. Anyways,
IMG College, brought to you by.
There's a lot of weird shadiness that happens with IMG and these prep academies that are like in between high school and college. And I think that's what Sunrise was, or that Sunrise had a piece of that, but either way, there's a relationship now between assistant coach on our staff and the now head coach at the former school, where you can have it in to a place that's producing recruits like Grady Dick, possibly get your school into the running with recruits that you previously didn't have a shot with. So there's that. How much do you want to see East Carolina basketball fail?
Well, we have a storied tradition of sending former assistant coaches to East Carolina, and
they've done really
the
well for
tradition
themselves.
Continues.
Obviously, referring to Ruffin McNeil, left Texas Tech in the winter of 2009, 2010, took over the head and took Lincoln Riley with him as his offensive coordinator. Y'all know
Y'all may have
sense.
May have heard of him.
Yeah. Mark Adams has been hired at Eastern Carolina as an assistant on the basketball staff under Michael Schwartz. Is the head coach, Michael Schwartz? Excuse me.
Yeah, this and one of the articles is just a lot about what Texas Tech did last year, but they just really didn't do that much. Anyway, I will probably forget that this happened until somehow Eastern Carolina is on my TV for some reason, or we share a common opponent with them, or something. I will just kind of forget about this probably.
Well, you know what's going to happen is we're going to be, in the middle of the season tracking S&P. No, that's football. Whatever the Ken Palm and Haslametrics rankings for defense, and we're going to see Eastern Carolina trending up,
Look at
or
the
like,
top
"Man,
10, all of it. Yeah.
what's going on out there?" It's like, oh, right, Mark Adams.
Yeah.
Because no doubt he is a hell of a defensive coach, and I think we may see that he's got a much better position as an assistant than as a head coach, and that's no knock on him or his abilities or his skills. I mean, I think we all thought that for one of our previous football head coaches, that he's a fantastic assistant, not a great head coach, at least in college.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not working in the NFL anymore, anyways. So there's that.
I talked to a Cardinals fan this weekend who was thrilled about that. It was so funny. Oh man, the cross section of this. Okay, so the guy, when we were in Kentucky, we met some of my family on the some of my in-laws, basically, sort of.
Mhm.
And one of them was a guy my age who was from the Chicago area, who is an Illinois fan for basketball. So he was familiar with Terrence Shannon Jr.
I would
And
hope so.
they had recently moved to Arizona, and he, is a Cardinals fan. And so he was very familiar with Cliff Kingsbury. So we talked a lot about that, and it was just kind of interesting him having the same observations about Terrence Shannon and Kingsbury that we kind of have over the years, especially Kingsbury's clock management and lack thereof. And just the inability. And he said this. I did not say this. And he said, it's so obvious that Kingsbury just scripts plays. Once you get past the first, once you get midway through the second quarter, he can't adjust to anything. He just can't do it. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds familiar. And I said, or he'll call a timeout on a change of possession. He's like, yes. Or he'll call a timeout for a punt. Yes. Or take a delay of game. And I said, also yes. So anyway, we kind of shared some of the same feelings there. He wasn't trashing the guy, but it was, and I was trying not to either. It was just one of those, I feel you, man. Yeah, went through that. That wasn't the best. And I said on our end, it was even worse because I was in a group of, probably a group that kept getting smaller every year, but just a group of fans that wanted him to win so bad, wanted it to work out so badly that it was just almost heartbreaking when it wasn't. You just couldn't stand it. So, okay, back to basketball, though. I was going to look up Eastern Carolina's. I'm on KenPom right now. I was going to see what their defensive, where they landed on adjusted defense. And because we're not going to remember this, but they were 150th on adjusted defense in the country, 212th in adjusted offense, 180th overall. So they've got their work cut out for them over there. But I firmly believe they will be above 150th on adjusted defense by the end of next season.
Yeah. Sorry, I was. But yeah, I would assume that like he's going to be able to go in and assume friction with the current players and our staff about him taking over defensive responsibilities or his style of play or how he coaches or any of that kind of stuff, that there will be some significant improvement on defense for them. Could you see their pace of play, their tempo?
Yes. Tempo is, oh man, hang on a second. They were 180th overall. Tempo 172nd.
Yeah, so that's going to go down. They're going to get
Yeah.
slower. But we've seen it work out where teams that will rely on defense and a slower tempo can actually be pretty competitive with a pretty large talent disparity on the court, right? We saw Tubby Smith do it, especially early on in his tenure at Texas Tech, where he just slowed the games down to a grind. And with the reduction in possessions, it really puts pressure on both teams, really, but on the other team to be super efficient. And if you're used to volume shooting and getting into a rhythm, a defense like that's going to throw you off. So, best of luck to East Carolina. Don't think they're on our schedule anytime soon. I wouldn't expect them to jump on our schedule anytime soon, but
Yeah.
I'm worried about our own. Also, we already talked about it. The basketball tournament, TBT, Air Raiders. Dude, it comes out. It starts tomorrow. If you don't have tickets, there's still plenty left on the website, but the games will be on ESPN Plus. And as loyal Texas Tech and Big 12 fans, you should have a subscription to ESPN Plus currently. So if you don't have tickets or your schedule won't allow you to actually be at the game, you should still be able to watch it. I counted it out. There's something like 14 years of player representation on this team, whether it's players or coaches.
Like a continuous 14 years.
Yeah.
Well, not 14 years, but sorry, each coach is represented.
Yeah, going back to is it Bob Knight? Did Roberson play for Bob Knight, or is it just
we might have.
Bill?
He might have at least been recruited by him. We can say that.
Yeah, because Roberson is the oldest player. And they've got guys all the way up until like Kyler Edwards is going to be on the team. We talked about Matt Mooney, Tariq Owens, Davion. Warren. God, I was trying not to say Davion Harmon. Zach Smith. So should be pretty fun. An athletic bunch. They'll be taking on the 8th seed tomorrow, the Purple Hearts. 8 o'clock. Michael's going to be there. Can't wait to hear how the game goes, the atmosphere, what it's going to be like to see all those former players back, and all that kind of stuff.
I think should be pretty good atmosphere because Tech plays at 8. The game before starts at 6. So I'd imagine it's just, it could go a little longer, but we'll see. But, that gives everybody enough time to get out from work. The ticket gets you into both games, which is great. And I don't think they're selling tickets for the upper bowl. So I'm sure the plan is to try to pack everybody in the lower bowl, which hopefully they will. So come on out. Last I saw, tickets were $25 for the most part, of course, and then you have to pay the customary fees, which they're just too hard to incorporate with the price of the tickets. It's just too damn difficult to do that. So that 25 turned out to be like 33 or something. I get it. That's how it works, but I also don't get why you can't just add that up front. Whatever, man.
I don't pretend to know accounting. Those were the hardest classes in my MBA program, was trying to figure out accounting and finance and how things are broken up. That is still currently the biggest headache that I have working now is expense reports and assigning budget spends to correct GL accounts and auth codes. And our operations team messaged me today on Teams like, you had this charge come through last month. Which GL is supposed to be assigned to, and which auth code is supposed to be? One, I didn't have an auth code, which is a pre-authorization step that we need for most services. But it's like, no, it's minor equipment. She's like, oh, okay. Like, you could tell that if you looked at the receipts or anything on the paperwork. But anyways, I feel like those kind of people just like to ask questions they know the answer to, just to mess with you.
I get that vibe a lot too. We recently had a lot of invoices returned because we didn't include the PO number on the invoices. and we get kind of a snarky email saying, "Yeah, well, we're not going to pay these because and it was like bolded or something. We're going to
It's
start
like
declining
just
payment unless these POs." No, the catch is though, Spencer, they were on all the invoices. They just looked in the wrong spot.
yeah.
They were on every single invoice but one. I think there was one that we left it off.
We
And when that got pointed out, it was still like the guy said something douchey like, "Well, I guess that's an acceptable success rate or an acceptable." I'm like, yeah,
it's like you still mess this up.
yeah, 1 out of 30. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. We left it off of 1. So how about you walk it back, buddy, and actually look at our invoices?
Yeah, to a new system, they said when you submit an invoice, it has to have all these different things. So the system that will scan it and populate all the forms for us instead of somebody doing it by hand every time. It has to be like everything has to be on there. And then they found out pretty early on, like if certain numbers aren't on a certain part of the document, like if it's not in the right quadrant, it's not gonna find it. It's like, all right, so not only do we have to have these 11 things present on the document, PO, GL, auth code, all these things, but like certain things are like, this
The
has to be the top
location.
right, this has to be bottom left. It's like, God. And it's like, it feels like if it bounces back, like nobody ever checks it. They just send like, hey, you're missing this, or it's whatever. It's like, well, it's on there. It was on
No one
the
gives you a
the
reason. It's just
intersection.
like, hey,
It was
this
on-
bounced back, and it's up to you to go, okay, what of the 9 things?
Yeah, that too. Okay,
Sorry, derailed.
just can you tell like I have like frustrations. I work in communications, man. I write press releases, snarky tweets, record videos, all this kind of stuff. Like you got me filling out expense reports and submitting PO. Like stop. I'm not in finance for a reason.
Finance.
Finance. The other thing we're going to talk about the basketball.
I prefer finance. I feel like that's more West Texas. Finance.
Texas Tech will play Vanderbilt in a non-conference neutral site game this year, December 16th at Dickies Arena in Fort Worth. So it's more or less Texas Tech East.
Yes.
Much more so than Vanderbilt West. There will be a triple
Vanderbilt has
header.
a basketball team?
Pretty decent basketball team, yeah.
Oh, okay.
There will be 6 teams participating in this little, it's not a tournament, but event. TCU will play Arizona State, and Air Force and UT Arlington will also be playing at Dickies Arena.
I like that both the Texas teams ducked out of playing UT Arlington. Yeah, sorry. No, we
Or
can't
each
do
other.
that.
No,
Yeah, you
I
can
won't do
be
that.
there. You can be there, but we can't take an L to UT Arlington.
Can't do it.
Sorry, just can't. We contractually can't. We will not do that. The other thing that's interesting about this is, I guess there's still the SEC challenge.
Yeah.
So Tech could possibly play a second SEC team in. Well,
They
they're already
should.
playing a couple. They're playing a couple in Big 12 play, because as far as I'm concerned, OU and UT are officially SEC teams this year. I don't care what happens.
Well, if you listen to Brett Yormark at Big 12 Media Days, essentially they're SEC teams playing within the Big 12.
Yeah, that's it.
Um,
That's a very wise way to put it. Well,
'Cause
it makes it
certainly
sound
took some
like I'm
shots.
calling myself wise. I'm not. I'm just saying they are. They're SEC teams. So whatever. It was nice of the Big 12 to allow them to have a final resting place.
The Big 12 SEC Challenge match, by the way.
Yeah, I didn't think so. There's very little on the basketball schedule front.
All right.
Maybe
I'm
McCaslin
excited.
has some less snoozers for the home schedule, but we'll see. For non,
You think he's going to schedule North Texas?
that would
No,
be great.
I don't think he would.
No, I don't think he would either. But it wouldn't
But
be like a malicious way, I
Yeah.
don't think. I mean, of course, I have not talked to very many Mean Green fans. They may not feel the love like that Christian Academy did for Barnwell.
Yeah. But let's try to avoid like Texas Southerns and North Carolina A&Ts and schools like that, please. I don't know. I don't know the logistics of filling out a basketball schedule and what Grant McCaslin thinks. I guess I could look back at the North Texas schedules and see how they scheduled, but
Well, shoot, I wonder if Adams and Beard would try to play Sunrise Christian Academy. They might
yeah,
try to get
Beard
them on the
probably
schedule.
would. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Luke.
Took me a
Hey,
second to
Luke,
figure out.
can you make some calls, man? Make some calls. Get them.
Hey, can we get New Mexico Junior College on the schedule?
Yeah. Neutral site though. Neutral site.
You still got your connections?
We're gonna play in Canyon.
Okay, so UNT last
We're
year.
gonna play in Plainview. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's fine. Southern Nazarene, St. Mary's. They got waxed by St. Mary's, by the way. Fresno State, Paul Quinn College, San Jose State, and the Bahamas. That wasn't really something they put together. Omaha, UT Arlington, Grand Canyon, UMass, UTSA, Florida Atlantic. Nope, we're into Conference USA games at that point. So,
Yeah, we're gonna play UT Arlington, aren't we? That's gonna happen,
well,
even though
maybe, but
nobody
not
wants it to happen.
not in Fort Worth, not in Arlington either.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. The intro to football will be longer than what we're going to talk about for football, but I have a surprise. I finally updated the music for it, and I'm going to play it. I don't know how it's going to turn out sound-wise, level-wise, first run. So if it's terrible, I should be able to fix it by the way I'm recording. But let's jump over to football, Michael.
Okay.
A pump fake. And over the middle. It is caught. It's Martinez. Nehemiah. Touchdown. Crossing pattern. There it is. Miles Price. He's got room. Down the sideline. Miles and Miles and Miles. 54 yards. A touchdown.
Look at the end zone. Bradley! He's got it! What a start for Texas Tech!
And handed off Brooks. Finds the hole. Brooks up the middle. And he's done. Touchdown, Texas Tech.
Daniels will go to throw, looking towards the end zone. It is Smith.
And it's intercepted. Adrian Taylor Demerson.
Morton runs it over the middle, and it's caught. Bradley breaks a tackle, sprints in the end zone, and touchdown, Texas Tech. Shuck winds up the deep ball, sideline, caught, touchdown, Raiders. What a throw.
And now the senior scores. Hutchings with the senior moments. Gabriel. And is it picked off? It is. Adrian Taylor Demerson somehow rips away an interception. Design quarterback run. Yes. Touchdown. Texas Tech. Looking for a punch. A man's open. Touchdown. Jared Bradley. Hand off Thompson. Again, the dead leg. Thompson. Touchdown. Texas Tech.
Play action for Dart. Pass drops and it's intercepted. Waters has it, Money Waters. Another big play for the Red Raiders. Shuck's going to keep it again. Shuck dives in the end zone. And he's got the touchdown.
For the win. Did he? He did! Texas Tech.
So what do you think? Just a thumb.
Well, I couldn't.
It's fine.
Once again, I had my mute button under 9 windows. I thought it was great. I couldn't hear the music very well, but that's
Well,
usually
it was a
just how
point.
things work
It
on my
was
headphones.
well, so it was the ESPN playoff though. Bum bum ba da bum ba da
Oh yeah,
dum.
I could tell it was different music. Was that Brando at the
It
beginning?
starts with Brando because we had I
Did that
the
pain you to put
clips.
Brando in? People like to hate
Oh,
Brando.
for sure. I love to hate Brando. And despite his partner's name being Spencer, he's pretty bad too. Tillman. No, I try to keep them chronological, right? So the first ones you hear are actually from the Houston game,
Yeah.
and then we get them back for the Texas game. I can't remember the name, but it was the guy that was super exciting. We had him twice for both Oklahoma schools, Oklahoma State and then Oklahoma at the end. We had them first, the Oklahoma State game, then West Virginia. Some of the games, like the style of the broadcaster, like they would be talking through the play and then get excited, but like the field noise and reactions weren't aligned with what they were saying. I was like, that's really not going to work. And game just didn't have great highlights to include, even though we won. Like Iowa State, I didn't include anything from Murray State. I think Oklahoma State is the only one on there that was a loss, and it was the Morton stuff there towards the middle.
Yeah, I could
And when
tell
he-
when I heard Morton highlights. I thought that was probably Oklahoma State or TCU. I couldn't
Oh,
tell
and
for sure.
yes, that there were some. So the Gus Johnson ones, but listening back to it, he was definitely sick that day. Like his
Well,
voice was not the same.
What I appreciate about him, the first clip you played, it was kind of just a subdued touchdown. I thought, oh well, that's just kind of dull for Gus. And then the second clip was Red Raiders, and I was like, okay, he pulled me back in. I'm back in.
Yeah.
Team Gus.
Watching through a lot of these videos today, just gut punch on some of these games. Like we had a lead, see you in the fourth quarter, man, and then we lost that game by 3 touchdowns.
Yeah,
because we had just had like just epic like momentum slap in the face when we turned the ball over in their territory, like 3 drives in a row that they then converted into touchdowns. Is like, well, it made me remember back to our post game. Was like I want to be mad about this, but like if you're gonna go for it on 4th down, you kind of have to assume the risk. Like this could happen, and it was like worst case scenario. Whereas like you got the benefit of it versus Texas when you went 6 for 8.
Yeah, and then
and it helped you win that game.
Ole Miss too. I mean, it was more often than not better than bad. It was, as we pointed out a few weeks ago with Connolly's piece. I forgot what the point differential was, but it definitely translated to more points versus less.
Yeah, and we saw teams like try to be aggressive on 4th down against Texas Tech, and it didn't work. Although they led the country in that stat you just referenced from Bill Connolly, the points gained off of 4th down conversions, and then Ole Miss. And I don't know if McGuire and Kitley just got into why am I blanking on his name? Ole Miss coach
Kiffin.
Yes, Lane Kiffin. I don't know if like their aggression got into Kiffin's head. He's like, I got to go for it even more, because we saw just how bad Ole Miss was, at least that night, going for it on 4th down. So yeah, so there's the updated football intro. I had a mostly good time putting it together. Enjoyed it. Big 12 Media Days, Michael, was this past week.
That's what they tell me.
And if you only saw pictures of Joey McGuire's media availabilities, you would have thought that like he won the national title or something last year, or something besides going 8-5, because he drew the largest crowds wherever he went. That a lot of that has to do with his personality, right? He's engaging, definitely not sour. He's got the right amount of confidence without being a douchebag. He's transparent in ways that we're like, we've got to get better here and here, and we were really good at this, but we got to improve it elsewhere. Really down to earth guy, and just obviously connects really well with people. You see that the recruiting successes he's enjoyed, and he's making friends, if you will, at media availabilities. Whereas guys like Gundy and Sarkisian, Neil Brown, like those aren't engaging personalities. I want to go back and look at the Big 12 newcomers, how they did at media days. I know that there was just some I'm mixing it up now. It were the BYU players that showed up in uniform, correct? And everybody else was like in suits and everything. Like, do you guys not get the memo, or you all trying to be different?
That's how out of it. I didn't even know that. I didn't know that happened, but that is interesting.
Anyways, but like just see how Gus Malzahn did, and how Holgerson did. There was something I wanted to bring up, Michael. I don't know if you saw it or not. It wasn't a Texas Tech fan that did it, but there was a thread of questions that should have been asked to Big 12 coaches. And it was one kind of snarky question, maybe controversial for everybody. The one for Joey McGuire was actually really, really tame. It was kind of lame. But the one to Neil Brown, absolutely, like I cracked up. The question was, how surprised are you that you outlasted Bob Huggins? And I was like, when I first read it, I was like, holy crap, that was a good one.
The jury is out. Quite possibly there will be a jury. Actually, no.
Okay, that's true, because...
But the court is out. The verdict is out. No, verdict is in. Nope. Anyway.
No verdict yet.
No verdict.
Court is in session. So if you want to see...
No appeal on the docket today.
You want to read a great media day, Texas Tech Media Day wrap-up, recap, definitely check out stakeandtheplains.com. See all the stuff there, all the quotes and links. I am being tormented, Michael, by this stupid fly. Like, it's just...
Well, we could talk about the fly on the wall. I'm spacing here, but I think one of the main things I gathered from this, and this was a lot from Seth's post, where they kind of go into a little bit more about everything running through Lubbock and that quote. And I think some of the guys had talked about this before, but I don't know if we have, but it sounded like, that locker room quote wasn't necessarily supposed to be released.
Sure.
Or, it was something that was kind of meant just for the locker room, but, one of the guys at Tech, and McGuire mentioned him in his comment, so it's not like I'm burying him or something, but Pat Clancy at Tech decided to put that in a video and send it out on Twitter. And of course it went viral, especially among us Tech fans. And what was interesting is the way McGuire kind of reworked that to his advantage. And he said, you know what, Pat, there's nothing that comes out of my mouth that I don't truly 100% believe. So maybe that was for the locker room, but I still believe it. Yeah. And I'm like, golly. And I see people say this all the time, like, this guy was made in the lab to coach Texas Tech football. So I like that little tidbit, because I think that had been alluded to before, or we'd kind of seen some stuff like, well, that wasn't really supposed to go out to everybody, but then it did, and it spread like wildfire. But then McGuire's like, you know what? All right, it's out. And I'm cool with it, and I still believe it. Let's go.
Yeah. So reading that comment though, being that in my line of work, I'm privy to conversations and things that are internal, confidential, if you will, basis. Um, and I've never done it, but like I can imagine myself not seeing that line very clearly and like sharing something that was supposed to be internal only, and then feeling that sting when like your boss comes like, yeah, that was for us only, man. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah. I mean, I really feel for the guy.
But the again, going back to what you said about, you know, how he's built for this job and just how he's just, you know, that much so much of a people person. He said like he stood behind it. It was like, you know, it wasn't something that he tried to have to defend or justify. It's like, I said it, I meant it for our players, uh, but I believe it, so it's out there. It's not like I'm going to back down from it. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I appreciated that, like that. The entire opening press conference or opening session from McGuire is available online. You can also get, you know, pieces of the interviews from all the other media scrums, from the players' interviews. He took Shuck, Hutchings, and Bradford with him. You can follow that stuff through texastech.com. I wanted to let you know, Michael, or let everybody know, the construction projects. He mentioned it at the at media days, but construction project is ongoing. The biggest update you're seeing now is the new field turf is going in, and it should be ready here in the next few weeks. And it's the same company that did the turf for Houston and for the Cowboys.
I also have an update. An exact same thing. A football update. Red Raider Soccer Complex is also getting new turf.
There we go. It's not the football field turf. They're just moving and cutting it, right?
I really don't know.
It's new, right?
Yeah, it's new turf. Yeah, it was. I don't think so. That would be weird. As far as I know, they're getting it.
Question for you, for your soccer fandom, and for your how you've been introducing your family, especially your little one, to soccer. Are y'all going to be taking in the Women's World Cup?
I was asked that by the same guy I was talking about earlier, on the extended family, who's the Cardinals and Illinois fan. I didn't realize it was coming up so soon, and so yes, we will try to. I'm gonna try to get some notifications on my phone and stuff because I'm so out of the loop on that. But yeah, after visiting with him and after now having a second reminder, I'm really going to try to do that. What about you?
Starts Thursday, man.
Oh man, okay, that's great.
The
I don't
US
have anything going on Thursday night.
US doesn't play until Friday though.
Okay.
They
She'll
take
probably
on
just go for a color. She'll just pick a color. She'll
Vietnam.
want to know if there's a pink team. Is there a pink team in the World Cup?
Well, I don't know about the jersey colors. The flag colors, no. You won't see any flags.
No, I know that. But yeah, that's
jerseys,
true.
maybe.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And because it's like it'll be the U.S. to watch the women's team play, because it is in New Zealand and Australia. That's at Friday night. But if you look at the other games, like Thursday, 5 a.m.,
9:30
p.m.
p.m.
So maybe
yeah, she'll be asleep.
So maybe the 8 o'clock game for us is actually like super. Would that be like Saturday? Stupid.
Maybe so. Match day 1 to 3. Yeah, I don't know. That is a really weird. It's like right when we're all awake, wanting to, or at work. That must be when they're asleep. That's all I can come up with.
Anyways, so new team in Big 12 Media Day, Anything else you want to talk about football before we bounce over and wrap it up with what did we learn?
No, I think that's got it.
All right, let's get to what did we learn.
What did we learn, Palmer?
I don't know, sir.
I don't know either.
All right. Quick update for me. Going yard. Mature enough. I was able to spray weeds. Knocked out a bunch of weeds. Which is super exciting because now like the Bermuda, like it'll actually be a Bermuda lawn instead of just like, oh, there's some Bermuda and there's weeds over there. Also yard related, we did switch internet providers. We're back over to AT&T.
Oh, nice.
The problem with that though, and this is a woe that Michael has talked about, is the line. They had to, and for whatever reason, well, no, so they did the install Thursday morning, Friday morning. I don't know. It was late last week. They came back, they buried the line yesterday, so Monday.
Oh,
so
great.
It was only out for a few days.
Yeah.
Optimum / Suddenlink came in on one side of the house. AT&T came in on the other side. I was like, y'all can't use the same fiber lines? Like y'all can't. So they ran a line from like the front third of my house down the side yard into the backyard into the alley.
Yep.
And they trenched it all, which is fine. Like I would have been a little bit more peeved if it was fescue and I had to like go reseed all that, especially here in the middle of summer when seed's not going to grow very well. Fescue, Bermuda's going to take over that dirt. The problem is the machine they use, that little tracks thing that's not on wheels, it's on tracks, tore up everything else around it. So I'm like, not only do I have a trench of just dirt now, which I will admit I went back by with like little garden, it's called a weasel, but it breaks up dirt, and then a leveling rake to flatten it all back out. It wasn't just the trench I had to do that to. I had to do that to the tire tracks. And
oh, sure, yeah.
I'm frustrated because the guy, so he parked his truck and trailer obviously on at the front of the house and then drove through my yard, the side yard, and then did the trenching along the side of the house to the fence, then turned back around and came all the way back out of the street. No, sorry. He didn't go all the way. Came back to the fence, went around the yard to my side gate and through the side yard on the other side, then through my backyard to pick up where he came through the fence, and then went from the fence to the back fence and then drove out the back gate. I was like, bro, you didn't have to like drive a circle around my house with this thing that just, anyways, I'm frustrated with that. It was
the worst
buried.
part of the whole experience was burying the cable.
Well, it's going to be at fixing the tire tracks and how.
Well, that's what I mean. Everything with
Yeah.
it. Mine, they took out 3 sprinkler heads the first time they did it at my house. So yeah.
Oh, that's a good point. I didn't point out the sprinkler heads on the side of the yard. I did in the backyard.
You might make sure they work.
Good Lord. Okay. What about you, Michael? You came from Kentucky.
Correct. Had some traveling woes as we were boarding our Sunday flight to DFW in Louisville. We were alerted that the flight to Lubbock was canceled. We were given no reason. We were just told it was canceled. But then there was nothing we could do because we were about to board a plane. So we got on the plane, and 3 hours later, because they had to fly around the storm, I guess there was a storm in the Dallas area Sunday afternoon, we land, and then but the thing that frustrates me the most out of all this, it's not so much with the airline. It rhymes with Samarican. But it's not so much that, because they got us home a day later. All the flights back home were booked, or they only had like 1 or 2 seats open, and we have 3 people. So we couldn't get home on Sunday. What was most frustrating to me, though, was every car rental place I called, none of them had a car. Not one. And I called 4 or 5 different national chains. And in a city of 7 million people, an area of 7 million people, not a single car was to be had on a Sunday afternoon. Don't care what it was. I told him I've got a family of 3. I'll take what you've got. What do you got? Oh, we don't have anything available at DFW. And I'm like, I already know that. Look elsewhere. Look all around the Metroplex. Every single place you have in the Metroplex. Grapevine. I don't care. I will Uber to your car. Oh man, we don't have any there. Or I will call and they'll say, I said, well, I need a one-way. I need to go.
One-ways are.
Oh man,
they take advantage
of
me
off. That ticked me off so bad. I hung up on a couple of them because I would say what I need, and they say, well, the only cars we're offering are round trip. Can you do a round trip? And I'd say no and hang up and try to dial someone else. Like, no, what do you think I'm going to do? Take my family to Lubbock, drop them off, come back,
drop off the car,
have my wife follow me back with a car? I mean, what are the logistics of how that's actually going to work? Fly back? Yeah. Anyway, that was just what irked me the most was not a car, not a minivan, not a Humvee, not a Mustang. I mean, you're telling me
your little one's small enough, like she could have fit in the back seat of a sports car. Like literally everything is open.
You're telling me there's not a Camaro sitting somewhere on the lot that someone didn't want to rent on a Sunday. You're telling me that that's not available, because we could have made that work, because our luggage, thanks American, was headed to Lubbock.
Yeah, it made it through.
Yeah, it got there the night before we did, and just hung out at the airport till we showed up the night. Anyway,
which is funny. It's like, okay, so whatever plane that was on, we should have been able. To sit on.
Put me on it instead. They probably were in our seats. They put our bags in our seats. So that was it. I wanted to just bring up quickly the topic that's engulfing the nation right now. No pun intended. The Oppenheimer movie and the Barbie movie both open this weekend. And I'm telling you, my friend, I have a ticket to see both of them on the same day. I am the Venn diagram. I am the person. I don't know why there are so many Twitter things trying to put us against each other. There are people who find Cillian Murphy coldly menacing and a wonderful actor. Nolan's a great director. There's also people who think Ryan Gosling is hilarious and should absolutely do way more comedy. And is very interested to see what Greta Gerwig and all them do with Barbie. I had no idea when I saw the Barbie movie come out, I thought, man, this is just going to be, kind of one of those kid movie things. And then I saw the first preview several months ago. I thought, oh no, this is not a kid movie, friends. Anyway, I'm seeing Oppenheimer in the morning. I'm making a big deal out of it. A friend of mine from the Dallas area is we're gonna meet up Saturday morning in Abilene and go see Oppenheimer, and then I'm gonna drive back to Lubbock with just enough time to get some dinner, get my wife, and go see Barbie. It's gonna be a great day. Good day of movies on Saturday.
So the movie is based off of a 2005 novel, Prometheus. The triumph and tragedy.
The Barbie movie?
Of J. Robert Oppenheimer.
Did you ever watch I think I've talked about it on here. There was a WGN. Is WGN still around?
I think so.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. There was a WGN series called Manhattan. It had 2 seasons, and that's all it was about. It was about the group of scientists at Los Alamos. It was, of course, a dramatized version of events, but I think it was maybe not very, but pretty deeply rooted in history and historical context and stuff. So that was a really interesting series that I enjoyed, and I think it might be on Hulu. It's kind of just floating around now in the ether. But having seen what someone was able to do on that with a very limited budget, and I don't think they ever even dropped the bomb on the show. I don't think that was where season 2 ended. I think it was about to go down. The very first test, I think. It was more about the espionage of it and the science of it, and trying to beat the Germans and everything. I was just enthralled with that. So to see Nolan kind of get a chance to tell that, I'm pretty excited about it. I'm also gonna have to wear that space diaper, but I'll make it. I'll make it through.
Is it really long? I haven't seen how long it's supposed to be.
I like how everyone's making a big deal about how long it is, because it is long. But it's 2 minutes shorter than Endgame. So if Endgame can go 3 hours, so can Oppenheimer. It's fine. I can't remember which one's shorter. One was like 3 hours, 2 minutes. One was 3 hours, 4 minutes. So the same people talking about how long it was. It's like, yeah, but the comic book movie that made a bajillion dollars was 2 minutes different. So it's fine.
Yeah.
We're seeing a purple alien try to kill the human race with the snap of his finger. And that wasn't ridiculous to be over 3 hours, but this is. So, okay.
He was wearing a gold bejeweled glove too. That's what I was trying to get at.
He had the voice of a Goonie. So yeah, let's not worry about the runtime of the development of the atomic bomb.
Yeah.
By a guy who usually makes pretty good movies. I just hope he doesn't do that weird time thing that he likes to do, where it's just like I don't know why he did that with Dunkirk. I think if I rewatched Dunkirk, I might appreciate it more. But it was just, man, wow, it's okay to tell linear stories, Christopher. It's fine. It's okay to just go, here's where we're starting, here's where we're going to finish. You did that with the Batman movies.
Yeah.
Mostly.
Well, if you think Dark Knight Rises, like that had quite a few flashbacks woven into it with the prison.
Yeah, but flashbacks are one thing. And it was obvious that those were flashbacks. But some of the Dunkirk stuff was just, I'm supposed to know what time it is. I'm supposed to know where this guy, he's just flying over an ocean. When is this happening?
What year are we in now?
Yeah. Is this Bane? Is Bane back?
Yeah.
Oh, look, it's Tommy, what's the guy from Peaky Blinders? What's their family? Anyway.
Never seen him.
I've only seen the first 2 seasons.
Hmm.
Why can't I think of his name? I'll blurt it out while you're doing the outro.
All right. That'll do it for us on the 23 Personnel Podcast. Until Michael figures out the name of that character, that'll do it for us. We will be back next week to talk about
Tommy Shelby. Sorry, there it is.
Talk about the Bill Connolly preview for the Big 12 Part 2. That includes Texas Tech. So, for Michael, we'll catch you guys next time.
Thank you for listening to the 23 Personnel Podcast. Help us out by subscribing, rating the show, and leaving a review. Follow us on Twitter at 23 Personnel, Spencer at Punt Suck, and Michael at Michael_LBK. Be sure to catch the next episode. And until then, guns up and let the tortillas fly.
All right. You need a break, or you just ready to roll right into Part 2?
I should probably go tinkle.
Okay,
I
I'm gonna
was
refill
looking
my
on my
water.
phone trying to figure out how to get World Cup updates. I need to figure this out.
Okay, I'm gonna grab some water.
Okay.
It's 11 o'clock on the drop. Cruising the streets.
We're back.
Can I thank you for introducing me to the Libby app?
Oh. Should
I
we
mention
it on the podcast?
Yeah. Here, we'll save it for the podcast. We'll do it live.
We'll do it live.
Oh, hey, we never stopped recording. I hope nobody tuned into the YouTube stream.